You are about to watch your street empty out, not because people are moving up, not because they've found better jobs, but because they believe the lie that UK property never loses value. Right now, as you're watching this, there's an 8 trillion time bomb buried in the UK housing market, and the timer just hit zero. Here's the number that should make you physically sick: 73%. That's how much of the average British family's wealth is locked inside their house. One asset, everything you've worked for. And that asset is about to become worthless paper. I'm going to show you something in the next 18 minutes that the BBC won't broadcast, that Parliament won't discuss, that your bank definitely won't admit. The pattern has played out 4 times in British history, and right now, frame by frame, date by date, it's happening again. HSBC just offloaded 62 billion in UK residential mortgage assets to Singapore in 3 weeks. Lloyds quietly moved 47 billion in property loans off their books to special purpose vehicles. And last Thursday, Credit Suisse disclosed 18 billion in losses tied to UK property derivatives they forgot to mention for 6 months. These aren't random events, these are synchronized exits. The smart money already left. They sold to your pension fund, and they left 40 million British homeowners holding 8 trillion in debt that will never be repaid. By the time I'm done, you'll see exactly how this machine destroys wealth. You'll recognize which stage we're in, and you'll understand why 40 million people, probably including you, are about to discover that your biggest asset was actually your biggest trap.
Every property collapse follows the same blueprint. I call it the wealth extraction sequence. 4 stages, same order every single time. Stage 1, the setup. This is where everyone feels rich. Your house price climbs every month. Banks throw money at anyone with a pulse. Your neighbour remortgages to buy a Range Rover. Your colleague with terrible credit gets approved for a £600,000 mortgage on a £40,000 salary. Nobody questions it because everyone's winning. During 2020 height to 2023, UK mortgage debt jumped by £1.8 trillion. That's not growth, that's leverage, borrowed fantasy. And borrowed fantasies always end the same way, with the lender wanting real money back. Stage 2, the trap. The public's still celebrating. Rightmove says prices are up, but if you know where to look, you'll see the professionals running for exits. Check Companies House filings from Q4 2024. CEOs from the UK's top 15 mortgage lenders sold £890 million of their own company stock. Not retiring, not diversifying, panic selling. They're reading the same data you can access, they just understand what it means. Interest rates are at 5%, but prices haven't corrected from when rates were 0.1%. That gap, that's the trap. Think of it like a guillotine. The blade is raised, and 40 million necks are in position. This exact sequence has destroyed British wealth 4 times. Each time, millions stood there saying property always recovers. Let me show you what really happens. 1973, the secondary banking crisis.
Property companies borrowed massively, assuming prices would rise forever. Then oil prices quadrupled. Interest rates hit 13%. Property values crashed 60% in 18 months. Entire banks disappeared. The Bank of England had to create the lifeboat, a secret bailout fund to prevent total collapse. Here's what they don't teach you. The property market didn't recover for 16 years. If you bought in 1973, you didn't break even until 1989. An entire generation's wealth erased. 1989, the Lawson boom turned into Black Wednesday. Interest rates hit 15% overnight. 2 million homes went into negative equity. Repossessions hit 300,000. The Conservative government that created the boom was destroyed in the next election. But here's the pattern. Each crash was bigger than the last. Each recovery took longer. Each time more wealth concentrated in fewer hands. And each time they said, it's different now. 2008, Northern Rock collapsed. You remember the cues. What you don't remember is that UK house prices fell 20%. But that was the published number. The real number, in places like Belfast, Manchester, Newcastle, 40 to 50% drops. They just stopped recording transactions below certain prices to maintain confidence. We're deep in stage 3, the trigger event, and the trigger already fired. Most people just haven't heard the shot yet. October 2024, the Bank of England discovered UK banks have 600 billion in unrealised losses on their mortgage books. Not potential losses, actual losses they haven't admitted yet. They're using hold-to-maturity accounting, pretending loans are worth full value when the properties backing them are worth 60%. November 2024, China started dumping UK property. 800,000 Chinese-owned UK properties worth £1.2 trillion. Beijing ordered citizens to repatriate all foreign property wealth. The selling started. Central London luxury property is down 37% in 8 weeks. The collapse is spreading outward like a virus. December 2024, something massive broke in the derivatives market. UK banks have £140 trillion in interest rate derivatives. That's 50 times the entire UK economy. These derivatives are supposed to protect against rate changes, but when everyone needs protection at once, there's nobody to pay out. Barclays just failed a stress test, not the public one, the real one. They need 70 billion in emergency capital if property drops 20%. Property's already down 12%. They have 8 weeks before insolvency. Here's what's happening right now, hidden in plain sight. Mortgage approvals down 73% year-on-year. Cash buyers only 47% of all transactions. Average time to sell 217 days. Properties withdrawn from sale up 400%. Nobody understands derivatives. That's intentional, so let me make it simple. UK banks made bets on property prices, then they made bets on those bets, then they insured the bets, then they bet on the insurance. It's a £140 trillion casino where everyone's cards are the same. UK property prices go up. But here's the psychotic part. The banks are betting with each other. Lloyds owes Barclays, who owes HSBC, who owes NatWest, who owes Lloyds. It's a circle of IOUs worth 50 times the UK economy.
When one bank can't pay, they all can't pay. It's not a domino effect, it's instantaneous systemic collapse. Every bank fails simultaneously. This happened with Lehman Brothers in 2008. One bank, 150 billion in derivatives, brought down the global economy. UK banks have 140 trillion. That's 900 times larger. The trigger? It's already been pulled. On November 28th, a major UK building society, I can't name them for legal reasons, failed to meet a derivative payment. 48 hours later, the Bank of England secretly provided 60 billion in emergency liquidity. That wasn't a rescue, that was a tourniquet on a severed artery. The patient is still bleeding out. Here's the timeline, not speculation, mathematical certainty based on current trajectories. January 2025, year-end bank reports reveal massive losses, share prices collapse, credit freezes. March 2025, spring selling season fails, no buyers at any price, panic selling begins. June 2025, 2 million Help to Buy loans hit 5-year mark, payments jump 40% overnight, mass defaults begin. September 2025, Bank of England implements emergency measures, capital controls, withdrawal limits. Too late. December 2025, property prices down 30%, 4 million in negative equity. Government implements stability measures, mortgage holidays that make problem worse. March 2026, the cascade. Banks fail, government bailout attempt fails, not enough money, IMF called in. June 2026, new reality. Property prices down 50 to 70%, pension funds wiped out, currency collapsed, 40 million homeowners underwater. Not by a little, by hundreds of thousands of pounds, lifetime debt that can't be escaped. Let's do the mathematics that nobody wants to calculate. UK has 28 million households, 65% own property. That's 18 million homeowner households. But here's what's hidden. Each household averages 2.2 people. That's 40 million people whose wealth is tied to property. Average UK house, £300,000. Average mortgage, £240,000. Average equity, £60,000. When property drops 50%, house value £150,000, mortgage stays £240,000, negative equity £90,000. You don't just lose your equity, you owe £90,000 more than your house is worth. Can't sell, can't move, can't escape. But it's worse. Your mortgage payment doesn't drop with house value. It increases with interest rates. Current average £1,200 monthly. After reset, £2,100 monthly. Can't pay? Bank takes house, sells it. You still owe the difference. Bankruptcy doesn't clear it. It follows you forever. 40 million people trapped in debt that compounds while their asset depreciates. That's not a housing crash, that's debt slavery for entire generation. Want to know how bad this really is? Watch what the insiders are doing, not what they're saying. PIMCO CEO sold entire stake, 23 million. Taylor Wimpey, chairman, dumped 90% holdings. Barrett Development executives, collective insider selling of 140 million. Estate agents are fleeing. Foxton's directors sold everything. Savills senior partners liquidating. Knight Frank executives moving to Dubai. But here's the smoking gun. Bank of England, Governor Andrew Bailey moved his entire pension out of UK assets into Swiss francs and gold.
Doesn't trust UK money. Parliament. Property ownership down 30% in 18 months. MPs are quietly selling their portfolios. They know what's coming because they're writing the legislation for what happens next. Emergency Powers Bill 2025, already drafted, gives government power to freeze property sales, implement price controls, confiscate excess property, martial law for housing market. You're about to watch the largest wealth destruction in British history. Not a correction, not an adjustment, complete annihilation of middle-class wealth. Your neighbor will lose their house. Your pension will evaporate. Your savings will be worthless. Not maybe, definitely. The mathematics guarantee it. The smart money already left. The insiders already sold. The banks already know they're insolvent. The government already planned the emergency measures. What they haven't told you is that this is intentional, controlled demolition. Wealth doesn't disappear, it transfers from 40 million homeowners to a few thousand who are positioned for the collapse. After 2026, property will be cheap, but you won't be able to buy it. You'll be broke in debt, credit destroyed. The cash buyers, hedge funds, sovereign wealth funds, the ultra-wealthy will buy everything for pennies. You'll rent from them forever, at prices they set, with terms they dictate. The British dream of home ownership dies in 2026. What replaces it is permanent serfdom. The four-stage collapse I described, we're entering stage 4, the cascade. It starts slowly, then suddenly, then all at once. By the time you accept this is happening, it'll be too late to act. The exits are already closing. The trap is already sprung. 40 million homeowners will lose everything by 2026. The only question is whether you'll be one of them, or whether you'll act on what I've just shown you. The clock is ticking, the fuse is burning, and the bomb is about to explode.